Yo, JD here, and as you can see, we are back on F1 22 as always. And in today's video, we return with some league racing action, this time for BRS round 2 at Canada Montreal. And in the first race, spoiler alert, we managed to come home in P2 after a difficult qualifying. So yeah, good damage limitation there. But coming into this track, I was a lot less confident with the pace. So I've always found Canada to be a very technical track, and although I enjoy driving it, the pace hasn't always been reflected there. But again, I'm just going to try and do my best to be as consistent as possible. FRA Elite, his pace is just very, very scary on quite a few tracks, and especially around here. During this qualifying lap, I was having a bit of a hard time because if you watch my stream, the weather and time of day, the time of day was meant to be set to midday, because as you can see, there's a lot of shadows on the track, and that was agreed upon the day before the race. So I was always practicing on midday because these shadows were a big issue for myself and a lot of other people. But then in the lobby itself, it was actually put to realistic, and the first two sectors of that were actually really, really good. But coming into this last chicane, especially if you're not using the racing line, which I think some people are in this league, then go through here. I can't see the chicane, man. Yeah, it's really, really hard to pick out your reference points. So that's why I was a little bit frustrated. And yeah, I know some people are saying it's the same for everyone, but when you've been practicing a certain way and then you have this, it definitely threw me off just a little bit. So I just tried to do my best. That first lap, the first two sectors were really, really good, but my last sector I lost all around, I think it was almost like 7 tenths, something like that. So it was really, really slow. So on this final lap here, I'm currently sitting in P8, so I need to get a good lap on the board. And even Elite, he was doing the high 8s in the practice that we were doing together on the midday setting himself. I think he was struggling, but he's just ridiculously fast around here. So I'm just trying to do the best I can. Almost a tenth up, so 3/4 of a tenth up, coming through into this hairpin. Don't want to get too tight to it, but the camber of the corner did the work, and I've actually lost about half a tenth going through there. So not a particularly good lap so far, but we do pick up a little bit of a slipstream from Goxy25, absolute legend he is. Coming through this last chicane, we do it a lot better this time, and yeah, I think we already set a lap before this, so comparing to my second lap, and it's actually
see anything, man.
A 9.7, and in practice we were doing 4s and 5s pretty consistently, and if we did a 4, that would have put us on the front row. So yeah, I was a bit unhappy with that. But yeah, it is what it is, and we just had to get on with it. So going into the race, I decided to start on the hard tyre, which is really the preferential strategy on this game itself. So got 4 lights, 5 lights here, and now it's really about damage limitation. So as the lights go out, not getting the best start in the world at all. People in the means get a much better start, so we're going to just try and find a gap through the chaos. So someone's going straight across the track. I think that's actually Goxley himself. We've actually lost the position. Now we're going to go down the inside here and trying to get back into 8th where we started, and then we actually get our first track limit warning. So very similar to what Australia, we got 2 warnings in the first few laps, and I got it on the first corner of Australia. So that's not a good way to start off a race, because 2 more of those and you'll get a 3-second time penalty. And tracking validations has actually been something I've struggled with on this game so far. On previous games, I was very, very good at avoiding those, especially on very difficult tracks. And sometimes I actually used to pick up a lot of positions because of that. But I have seen even other drivers also struggle with the same. So I don't know if it's stricter or it's more inconsistent, but yeah, definitely something after this race that I have been working on quite a lot. But we are into P8 now on these hard tyres. Got Andrea up ahead of us. FRA Elite does an 18.9, and I think he has also started on the hard tyres as well. So let's compare what our pace is against him, as Goxie makes a bit of a mistake and his car's actually ghosted for some reason and now has come back again. Got the DRS zone here, and we've got quite a fast car in a straight line, so very slippery. And go through here, what these two guys go do is go try and go side by side, go through into there, and now we've actually got 2 in 1. So now we've been promoted up into P60. SP Hollow was thinking about making a move, decides to think better of it, and now we are up into P6. So got a couple medium runners up ahead. Let's see what the pace is like, and you can see the gap has stayed pretty similar at the moment, as the mediums are still should be the fastest tyre, but as you can see, Elite in the lead. He's still maintaining the lead with these hard tyres, which is just I just don't understand how he has so much grip. It is crazy. But we decide to let Hollow go because there's no point really fighting him, and really go try and use him to catch up to these other set of medium runners up ahead. And if we can just keep close to the medium runners, then when we go on mediums ourselves at the end of the race, then we should be in a very, very nice position. So just go give the example that how much I was actually struggling myself a little bit. I was having to work really hard to keep up with these medium runners, and again, FRA Elite is still in the lead of this race, and watching his footage, he hasn't even really used that much ERS either, so it's absolutely nuts, the speed that he can take and the precision, and just carry that perfect apex speed with the perfect inputs. It's very, very impressive to see indeed. And you can see we've had to use quite a bit of ERS this race so far as well, so definitely just struggling just with the wall pace around here. But apart from Elites, we are the next hard runner, and if we could just keep close to this medium group up ahead, then we could pick up the pieces and maybe come home second best once again. So that really was the goal here. And you can see still having to use the ERS, but the low downforce is saving me in a straight line. But then as you come through into here, end of lap 8, going through a chicane, FRA Elite does a 12.8. Let's see what we do. It's a 13.8, so a full second slower. And yeah, it's I can definitely see where there's half a second in the lap, but it is pretty scary. As DSP now pits, we've got FRA Placky behind me, who is, I would say, probably one of the top 3 quickest drivers on the game as well. And our pace against him wasn't too bad. It's just Elite is just in a completely different league around this track, it seems. It's just absolutely ridiculous. But you can see we've got BRS Josh and Rye UK up on the medium. So let's see if we can make any inroads into them. And you know, with this championship, it really is going to be about consistency as we get our 3-second time penalty. And I can confirm that was actually a double warning. So that was only my second track invalidation. But on this game, sometimes it counts it as double. So I was pretty confident that I could get that removed at the end of the race. So right now, I'm being very, very cautious with the track limits. I'm going to try and avoid getting another one, because I felt with the race director that I should be able to get it removed. So now, still 20 laps of this race here to go. We're not even halfway, and it's quite similar to Australia, where now I have to start being quite careful with the track limits. But you can see we're holding a good pace against Placky and starting to close in on these medium runners. So we are fairly close to them. But you can see as we go past all these medium runners who are boxed, FRA Elite is 9.2 seconds. And let's compare ourselves as that. Let's see how much time we will inevitably be losing. And let's see where that time loss is. So go through here. Haven't lost that much time so far. And going through this sequence of corners, definitely lost a little bit of time here. So I lost about 2/10 in this first sector, which isn't too bad. But it's the way he goes on the power, I think, is the crazy thing. He just gets the full power just so quickly. So I lost about probably another 10th coming off exit this corner. Coming through these sequences, we've actually gained a little bit back, but then lost a bit on the exit. And I'd say we probably lost around another 10th, so not losing too much time here. But it's really through this last straight, and I assumed that he was running a bit of a high downforce, but if you watch going down this last straight, unless he's using a lot of ERS, which I don't think he was, if you look at that delta, the time is just going up so quickly. He doesn't have DRS or anything at all. It's just, and we've lost about 6/10, we've lost 7/10 in that last sector. 7/10 just through 2 braking zones. It really is absolutely crazy. And as we skip on to that 17, we will manage to keep Placky quite well at bay. And I decided to actually box early now because I wanted to try and put a bit of distance between myself and Placky, and I didn't want the people who pitted on the hards to get too much of an undercut. So pitting a little bit earlier than I would have liked here, but I think the mediums should be able to make it to the end fairly okay. But I just really wanted to try and put 3 seconds between myself and Placky, overtake the cars up ahead of me, and was hoping that he would actually take a little bit more time. But as we're coming out side by side with a car here, but my tyres are going to be a little bit cold, just making a little bit of contact, and you can see DSP Hollow have actually done the overcutting him, because when they pit for hards just takes so long to actually get up to temperature, which is why I think the hard to medium strategy really is the strategy you want to be on 99% of the time, and this is certainly a track that you can overtake on. So as we go through the next lap, we managed to get our tyres up to speed, and Placky I think has still stayed out, so he's going to have multiple laps fresher tyres than me, which might make a little bit of difference at the end. But again, I'm just going to try and catch this traffic before him and create as big a distance of a gap between us, just in case our 3-second penalty doesn't get removed, because I was very sure, 90% sure that that was only my second warning, but not 100%. So just in case, I wanted to try and create that gap as much as possible. Go get this move done on Rye UK, and now let's see how quickly we can actually close in on Goxley and BRS Josh. So coming through into here, I think we'll go stay on board for a little bit more of this lap, as you can see the gap is 2.3 seconds up ahead. Placky has now come out of the pits, and he is actually right behind us, so his tyres will heat up just for a little bit. As you can see, he's actually lost a second and a bit more, as we're about to do the fastest lap of the race itself. So we do it at 12.1, which is not too bad at all. And yeah, the goal now is to try and overtake Goxley and Josh before Placky gets there. And in these laps, as we get our 3rd warning, so now that means my penalty can't be removed, because yeah, even if that was a double warning, that was our 3rd one, so that would have been the penalty itself. So I knew now that we had nothing to lose, and I've got to try and overtake these guys as quick as possible. So coming through into here, you can see Placky is starting to close in now. He doesn't have a time penalty, so I was really just trying to aim for a podium if I could, as FRA Elite does us 11.6, so he did pit a few laps later than us as well. Let's see what our lap time is, and going across the line, it's almost a second once again. So these two guys are going side by side here. Let's see if we can pick up any of the pieces, and yeah, Placky is going to get within our DRS zone on this lap now, because he will be much faster than these cars up ahead, and our gamble to pit early to put that distance between us has kind of backfired a bit more, now, and no, BRS Josh doesn't even have a time penalty himself, so, and we still got to do 12 laps of this race to go, so we're having a little bit of understeer behind these cars here, and I think Placky has actually just got within the DRS zone as well, as Goxie is actually going down the inside, making a bit of contact, so we're going to try and do the same thing again, and he's got his red light flashing. I don't think Josh is going to get the DRS, so we're using all of our ERS now, and we're going to try and get this move done, but it looks like he's really defending his quite hard, so we're going to let him have this corner, and then try and go for a little bit of a switch back on the exit. Yellow flag, so we're trying not to overtake him too early, but now it's a green flag, so we're going to go down the inside into turn 1, and we've got to leave some room on the exit, but with the grip of these medium tyres, we should get that better traction, which we do get much better traction. And now we are up into P4, but yeah, Mark Sosa up ahead, another championship rival, doesn't have a penalty at all, and GPR Dizzy has a penalty, but he is 5 seconds up the road, and the mediums might be going off by then. So the only hope I have is to try and pull 3 seconds away from Josh, and was hoping that Placky would take a bit more time for him to get through these guys, but I think you're going to see very quickly he's already up into P6. Now he's actually got his teammate up ahead of him, who I don't think is going to make it particularly difficult for him to get the move done. So as you'll see coming down the straight, I don't think he's really going to put up a fight, and you can see he's already up into P5. He's going to get the DRS on the exit of this corner as well, and yeah, unless he gets a time penalty, it's going to be really hard to keep him behind. So coming towards the end of lap 26, the mediums that I'm on, since I did pick quite early, are starting to go off round about this time now, and see Placky is around 3/10 behind us. He's going to get a pretty good exit here, and I don't think we're really going to fight this particularly hard at all. There really is no point, since he's going to get DRS on the exit, and he is just going to absolutely cruise past. His red light is flashing though. You can see we do have a fair amount more ERS than him, so I'm going to do my absolute best to try and keep up. But as you can see here, lap 27 had to use quite a bit of the ERS to do it, so we are still within the DRS zone, but with the grip he has going through these corners, you always have got a very good chicane. We were really struggling to try and keep the pace, but the good thing is that we have pulled 3 seconds away from Josh behind, and we are starting to catch the people in P2 and P3, but you can see in the minimap, FRA Elite is just playing a different game, really. It is quite terrifying at certain tracks how fast he really is, and I've said this before, I think he is a top 5 driver on all platforms. I think he would be batting the people, the likes of Blakely, Jana Watmere, Barry Borman, people like that. I really do think, with a little bit more experience as well, he will be right there. But you can see, as you paused it, we just missed out on the DRS sign by 0.17 of a second, and I thought I got it, but yeah, his grip was too much and his pace was just too much, and yeah, no DRS detection here, and yeah, that's pretty much going to be game over for that. So as we skip onto the start of the last lap, you can see he's actually made his way up into P3. We're almost within the DRS zone of Mark up ahead, but we have barely any ERS, and he doesn't have a time penalty as well. So now, unless we can get the guy in P2, who seems to be a little bit further ahead as well, we did quite a good comeback, but maybe we should have been a bit longer on the tyres itself. But I was just very concerned about trying to beat Placky, but maybe should have just accepted that it was going to be quite hard to do with that penalty. So we're just giving it absolutely everything still. Luckily, we've got over a 5-second gap up to the cars up behind us, and then kind of through into the chicane, just trying to get as close as we possibly can, using it on the exit. And I think we are going to get the DRS zone coming down the straight. But you can see Elite is already through that last chicane. And if you look at what lap time he does at the end, he does an 11.5 on those hard tyres would be quite worn as well. So it's absolutely terrifying, if I'm being honest. And we'll see what lap time we do at the end. We had the DRS as well. He did an 11.5, so I think he used all of his DRS on that lap. And what do we do? It's a 13.3, so almost 2 seconds in one lap, which, no, I looked at my lap time straight away, and I know he had fresher hards, but yeah, I think he must have used all his deployment on that lap, because that is just nuts that he can do that time. But yeah, overall, a pretty underwhelming race. Pace wasn't too bad, but definitely not the best it's been for me. Still got a P5 after that qualifying, but yeah, Baku next week, which will be coming out this Friday, because we've already done the race, so no spoiler alert, is a pretty interesting race, and one that I certainly prepared for quite a bit more than this one. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for the support. Make sure you check out Bybit in the link down in the description, and I'll be catching you very, very soon. Peace.